It's been an interesting 3 weeks of this year's Giro d'Italia, so we thought we'd take a little look back at some of our most memorable moments. These are in no particular order, and I'm sure you've got plenty of your own. Feel free to add them in the comments below afterwards. We'll start though on stage 3. Italian champion Elia Viviani was relegated after winning the stage for what the communique generally says as irregular movement in the sprint. Roughly translated, that means that Viviani might have got away with his first move, but when Moschetti tried to come past him again, the Deceuninck Quickstep man came off his line and he was relegated. And the stage awarded to Fernando Gaviria of UAE Team Emirates, who didn't look particularly happy about it on the podium. That was about as good as the Giro got though for Gaviria. The stage 9 time trial from Riccione to San Marino finished at the top of a 12-kilometre climb. There's a lot of talk going into the stage whether it was worth changing from your time trial bike to your road bike for the climb. Cue a disastrous comedy of errors between Victor Campenaerts, European time trial champion, and his mechanic. A little bit more practice needed there, methinks, or a little bit more work done climbing on the time trial bike. Next up, Damiano Cima's stage victory for Nippo Vini Fantini on one of the Giro's long flat stages. We thought it was going to be a bit of a snooze fest until about 3 kilometres to go. Normally, the pattern, break goes, gets given an advantage, gets reeled in, sprint. Not on this occasion. The breakaway absolutely gassed it with about 40 kilometres to go, almost doubled their advantage and held on to the finish, with Cima taking probably one of the most thrilling Giro stage victories for a very long time. If you're a souvenir hunter, Trek Segafredo's Giulio Ciccone gave one lucky recipient the equivalent of when the baseball or the cricket ball, depending on where you are in the world, goes into the crowd. Now, Ciccone was one of the men of this year's Giro, taking the King of the Mountains jersey on the opening stage time trial, getting into multiple breakaways. He briefly gave that jersey away to one of his teammates before going on to take a fantastic stage victory to Ponte di Legno. His emotional, passionate victory salute saw him cast his glasses off into the crowd. We're not too sure if he realised he'd done it himself. Primož Roglic, the man, won the opening stage time trial. He followed that up with a second stage victory on stage 9. And we were all pretty much sitting there waiting for him to reclaim the Maglia Rosa in the mountains and go all the way to Verona. Unfortunately, it all started to come unraveled for the Slovenian on stage 15. He had a bike change. His team manager stopped for a natural break at the wrong moment when the racing was on, and he then crashed on a descent only to be saved from going over the edge by this barrier. Always philosophical is Primož, and he said afterwards that luckily he took most of the brunt with his face, and he doesn't have to ride his bike with his face. Gotta love him. Now, the big ouch moment though of the Giro has to come from Pascal Ackerman of Bora Hansgrohe, who went down in a crash on stage 10, and we saw the big German rolling into the finish looking like this. Now, most people have excused him of pulling the ripcord and heading home, as a lot of the sprinters did, but he pushed it through the mountains, he persevered, he reclaimed that Ciclamino jersey, and as Ackerman said afterwards, his team don't quit.
I think that's no question, because we always stay the whole race. We are not a team like we say, okay, we just go 1 or 2 stages. If we go there, we try to finish also the race.
Next up, it's Matteo Montaigne, who demonstrated his weight-saving, leg-building saddle alternative. Now, the Androni Giocattoli rider was seen riding along like this. It's enough to make your eyes water. Primož Roglic was penalised 10 seconds when 2 overexcited fans decided to give him a push. Whether he didn't realise what they were doing, we will never know, but the riders will tell you that they don't like interference. So we say to you, the fans, go out, enjoy the atmosphere, but don't run alongside the riders or push them. Imagine if that 3 weeks' work had been undone by one small push. He did manage to get back onto the podium. when Richard Carapaz rolled into Verona's historic amphitheatre at the end of the final day's time trial. He crowned a historic moment in sport. A man from humble beginnings, we are sure he will now go on to inspire a whole generation of Ecuador cyclists to follow in his footsteps. Finally, we'll go with Esteban Chavez, who went on to take a fantastic stage victory for Mitchelton Scott at San Martin di Castrozza. The big smiling Colombian looked back to his brilliant best, and he crossed the line and made a beeline immediately for his mum and dad. Oh, love it. Now, that's it. I'm sure there are many more moments that you could pick out from this year's Giro d'Italia. Feel free to leave them in the comments section below. See you soon.